we use is cushion. We can cushion it, so it won't be quite as bad. How do we do this? We do this by sharing the teaching that will reunite us. The Hopis and their prophecies say there will be a religion that comes here. Maybe it will be true and bring unity, or maybe it will not bring unity. If it does not bring unity, a second religion will come. And the people of this religion are known in the Hopi language as the Bahani, the people of Baha, meaning as people of. So I was looking for the people of Baha. I wondered who the people of Baha were. Baha means light and glory. Baha means follower of light, of the people of Baha. We've been waiting for these people a long time. They say they will bring a teaching that will unite the earth. So we need to share this teaching. They say the fire will come from the north. So here we are, in a circle in the north, talking about the Bahanis, the people of Baha, the teachings of Baha. When I heard about these, none of them made any sense. Now most of it has come to pass. Last night on the news they said the house in the sky will be put up in 1996. The earth as we know it is going to change. Each of us carry, I believe, a sacred drop of light. In the Indian teachings they say it takes 9 ancestors to agree before conception can occur. 9 ancestors of the husband and the wife have to come together in the spiritual realm and say, we will bring life before a person woman can become pregnant. At that time, the soul was formed. I delivered my first daughter, and a man who, from the blood reserve, who went to South Dakota and was the first blood to pierce for, in 82 years, he came to my house by coincidence 4 days before my wife went into labor. Each night we had a ceremony. And on the morning after the 4th ceremony, my wife went into labor at sunrise. And that night, at sunset, the daughter was born. And I took her out and I cut the cord, and I noticed that at the Sundance that the Lakota people do in South Dakota, they toss that pipe 3 times and they don't take it in the 4th time. And even in Washington, I've heard the coming of a child is like the coming of a new pipe. And when I was delivering my daughter, I happened to notice that the skull came out 3 times. And on the 4th time, her head came out like the coming of a pipe. So I took her out and I cleaned her up and I washed her, and first I put her on her mother instantly. But then after a few minutes, we washed her up. There was a circle of people just about like this around my wife and praying, and people with different backgrounds. And we looked up and through the ceiling came a small drop of blue light. When it got close to the child, you could not see it. That was her soul. She would carry that light throughout earth. In that is her special uniqueness as a being of spiritual power. In that are her gifts. After we go through, and then we carry it back here, and it radiates to the mind, but for some reason in this cycle, we've been in the lower natures, the animal part. But now we're going into the human world, and the mind is going to be opened up to the radiance of that, our own soul. And the cycle of human beings is going to come about. And something so great is going to happen on this earth that cannot even be described. They always say it in different ways. They say something like this. They say, there will be grass at that time when they make that circle and bring the peace on the earth. There will be blades of grass that have not quite come through the earth. Even they will try to push themselves up to be part of that day when the sun rises. They say out here outside this building, long before there was a fairgrounds here, there were native people. They say many of these native people in different tribes, they were aware of these things, and they told their children. Their children grew up. One time the people came from the Hopis, scientists came to the Hopis, and they said, we want to take a piece of the stone tablets. So they said, we want to take the stone tablets to a scientific laboratory to determine how old they are. The Hopi said, we know how old they are. Well, the scientist says, we want to confirm it. Well, the Hopis let them take a little piece, and they did that, the carbon dating method. They found these tablets were at least 10,000 years old, maybe 50. So when I say thousands of years ago, there were native people that spoke of these things. That's exactly what I mean. They told their children, And thousands of years ago, their children grew up and told their children. And then their children grew up and told their children. And they spoke about the people that will live at this time, and now it is us. We are the ones they spoke of long ago. They say to be allowed to become into creation and live upon the earth at this time is a great honor. In the cycle of time, from the beginning to the end, this time that we're in now, the change, the purification of all things, they say this is the hardest time to live, but it's also the greatest honor to be allowed to live and see this. In the state of Washington in 1855, they signed treaties and made 22 Indian reservations. They wanted to do it before there was problems. They thought they were advanced at the time. They had learned from what had happened elsewhere. They made 22 Indian reservations, and the elders spoke in 1855, and they said, we're going to become weaker, and we're going to become stronger, and if you wish to break these treaties, you may do so. They said, but there's going to come a time when the earth itself will rise up and purify itself, and this will be announced. It will be announced by the speaking of one of 16 great ones on the west coast of this land. 1/5 of the 16 great ones speaks, the purification will have begun. It was a little over 5 years ago when Mount St. Helens, one of the 16 great volcanoes on the west coast of this land, spoke. The Seattle Times did a special interest story. They went over to Watson Totus and Woodrow Bill. They asked Watson Totus and Woodrow Bill, as spiritual people in the Yakima Nation, what does this mean? What they said was so profound that they didn't put it on page 16, they put it on the front page of the Seattle Times. They said this means that the races and nations of the earth should slow down and come together and talk to each other. That's exactly what it meant. And we had 4 years and 4 days to do that. 4 years and 4 days later, Mount St. Helens went off the second time. That was last spring, just about this time. That was our grace period. We could have still done something really good, but now things are going to speed up. Now things are going to really happen fast. Time is going to go so fast. The more we share the message, the more we will cushion the great shaking of the earth, and the easier it will be on ourselves and others. A good friend of mine in Montana, his grandmother just passed away last year. The last thing she said to him was, make a place for yourself in the mountains, because the air would become so hot down here where they were at on the reservation that it'd be hard to breathe. And it won't be long. That's the last thing she told her grandson when she was passing. Go into the mountains and make a place for yourself. Put some things there that you can survive with. The people are going to run to the mountains to survive, and the Native people must be ready for this. And they're going to turn to the Native people, and they're going to turn to the local spiritual assemblies. So this is that time. We are now within the purification of all things. Non-natives call this the apocalypse. The native elders call this the purification. I want to share one non-native prophecy with you. There was a prophet, or a seer, not a prophet, but a seer in Europe. His name was Nostradamus. I'm sure many of you have heard of him. He foresaw 3 great shakings of the earth. He said the third shaking would begin when Lesser Arabia and Persia engaged in a war. 5 years ago, when Mount St. Helens went off, Iraq attacked Iran. Lesser Arabia today is called Iraq. Persia is called Iran. These two prophecies coincide. Both the native elders and Nostradamus said this will start slowly, almost unnoticed by the peoples of the earth, but it will eventually involve us all. Eventually the ghosts of ashes will fall from the sky so much that the river that runs through the center of this turtle island, the Mississippi River, will boil from the heat of the ghosts of ashes that will fall on this land. But don't despair, it sounds terrible, but we will survive it. We will live through it. So, in closing, I would like to call on each and every person, regardless of who you are, young or old, native or non-native, to arise now and to awake, to embrace this time, to learn everything you can about the teachings and the writings. to arise and awake and go forth. All the peoples of the earth. You're going to find them. Peoples everywhere are now receptive to the message. It is time to arise and awake and go forth and teach. There's people out there waiting to hear. Waiting to hear.